Good afternoon, guys. Happy Friday. We have officially made it through 1 week of tea times. So, for those of you that have watched every episode, thank you so much for going on this journey with me. As you are probably aware, this is my first real attempt at making any sort of like vlog or really like content, digital content for a platform like YouTube. So it's definitely been a little bit of a learning curve. But as I've continued to do it, continue to get more comfortable with it, I'm really excited for what the future could hold. I am so pumped to get some of these ideas that I have spinning around in my brain out to you guys, whether it's a home drill, whether it's something you can work on, while we're in between this break between first tee lessons, whether it's a game you can go play. Really excited to, kind of document this progress. So far, we have covered a lot of kind of what I would call fundamental golf concepts. So first thing we talked about was putting and patience. We talked about putting the right grip on the club. We had our workout Wednesday, and then we talked about grip pressure, grip tension. Now, a lot of these are kind of build-ups to the golf swing, right? We haven't really swung the club yet as part of these videos, other than maybe like leapfrog. If you decided to go the pitching or chipping route, you were actually probably swinging at that point. But a lot of what we talked about is build up to prior to the golf shot. We haven't really hit the ball too far yet. I think that's important. When we talk about kind of the progression, I think it's smart to do that, to do things that way, to start off with grip, how we're holding the club. I think that my next thing that I would like to address is going to be about aim and alignment. Okay? And as a part of that, kind of like goal setting. So you know how we like to tie our life skills into what we're talking about. So today, like I said, we're going to be speaking about aim and alignment and why it's so important for our golf swing. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's get started. All right, guys. So aim and alignment. Why is it so important? Well, when we talk about golf and talk about how we're going to improve, if you hit a shot and it goes away from the direction that you wanted it to, you want to know what caused it to do that. Cause and effect. Why did my golf shot not go where I wanted it to? Well, what we want to do with aim and alignment is rule out the possibility that we were not actually aimed at the correct target. Okay? Let me show you an example. So, let's say that my target is this pink cup over by the door over here. If I get set up to where I think I'm aiming at the pink cup, but in reality, I'm pointed over towards the blue cup, it's going to be really hard for me to tell what aspect of my swing is causing the ball to go offline. So, aiming and alignment really helps us know what is the root cause of the problems that we're having, right? We always want to make sure that we're aimed and set up to the target that we want to go to, so that when we hit our shots, they at least start off in somewhat the right direction, okay? Now, there are a few elements to aiming and aligning properly, okay? The first element that we're going to focus on is the club face. First and foremost, we have to make sure that the face of this club is going and aimed where we want it to go. And that's the thing that I always start off with first. So when I aim, I make sure that I like how this is pointing. Then, from there, what I like to do is step out my feet so that they match my club face. From there, it's just making sure that everything's in agreement, from our hips to our knees to our shoulders. We want everything to match the line that's created between our toes. What we call that in the golf world is square. So square your hips, square your shoulders, everything like that, to where your club face is aimed. And I bet that if you hit a nice straight back, straight through stroke, your shot is going to go primarily where you want it to. All right, guys, so we've kind of discussed how we can set ourselves up and aim properly, right? And we talk about getting our toes, the line between our toes, matching and square with the other parts of our body. So our hips, our knees, our shoulders, the club face, okay? That kind of makes sense, right? Couple things I want to touch on about aiming that might seem kind of weird to you, okay? So if I'm going towards this pink cup and I get my club face aimed and I get set up properly, I feel like right now I'm aimed pretty well towards that pink cup. Something that's important that might not be initially super obvious to you guys is that if I put this club down so that it's touching my toes, you might expect that that club points towards the pink cup. But what I want you to remember is that when we are hitting a golf shot, we're actually standing away from the golf ball, right? So if we want this golf ball to point towards the pink cup, then our feet should be pointing where? Well, if you're aimed properly, that line should be going to the left of your target, right about here, okay? Now, when we're talking about like hitting a driver or a 7-iron, that difference is gonna be even bigger because the further we go out, the more that distance the more distance that is created, okay? So, I want you guys to keep in mind that it is not our toes that are going towards the pink cup, because if that's the case, then guess where my putt's gonna go? It's gonna go over there to the right, okay? Something super important that you can keep in mind. And I don't know if you caught what I did there though with my club, but that's something that a lot of people will do when they're out practicing. They will aim, get set up where they feel really comfortable that they're aimed to the target. Then they'll drop their club or another club that they're not using. Maybe if they're hitting 7-irons, they might grab their 6-iron. They'll put their 6-iron down on their toes and they'll come back behind the ball and they'll check to make sure that that line looks good. And if it looks good, then they'll just leave their club there, grab their other club that they were using, and practice that aim and alignment. You know, I mentioned with my grip and with my grip tension that I always have to go back and check, right? It's something that over time, your alignment could start shifting to where we call it training your eyes, but I could be getting over here aimed way to the right of my target, and to my eyes, it feels like I'm aimed properly. So this is another one of those things that you have to constantly check and reassess. It could definitely get out of whack over the course of starting in the spring, playing all summer and all fall. Your aim and alignment could have been great in the spring, and by the time fall rolls around, you might be aiming too far left of your target. So, something that you always want to go back and check, and you can do it just like I did. Drop your club when you think you're aimed properly, take a couple steps back, and see where that thing's pointing. It should be pointing, if you're right-handed, about where my foot is if I'm going for that pink cup. Now, conversely, if you're left-handed, you're going to be on the other side of the ball, so your feet line should be about where my foot is. Because remember, you're going to be standing over here. So the line between your toes is going to the right of your target. All right? So what I want you guys to do at home, you don't even have to hit a ball to do this. I want you to get a ball, set up to it how you think you're aimed properly, drop your club, take a couple steps back, and see where that thing's pointing. Actually, looks like I'm a little to the right. So what I'm going to do, adjust my club, come back, and I'm going to start training my eyes to see proper alignment. If you do this a few times, you'll start setting up naturally to the target that you want to every single time. Okay? So, once I get my aim, You can even do this as a little test if you want to. Try to hit a putt. I think my carpet's breaking to the left there. I don't know. That felt pretty good, but you guys get the idea. All right, guys. Hopefully you were able to try some of that aim and alignment stuff at home. Hopefully you found out something about your aim and alignment. Even if your aim and alignment was great, knowing that it's accurate and aimed toward your target is very helpful information, because later on in your golf journey, I know some of you might be on the younger side and this might be your first intro to aim and alignment. However, as you get older and you continue playing golf, this is something that's going to be so important, regardless of whether you're brand new to the game, a 30 handicapper, a 10 handicapper, a scratch golfer, a professional. All golfers of all skill levels focus on their aim and alignment. It is one of those consistent things that is always important to everybody. The reason why, and I kind of described it earlier, was that when you're properly aimed and your ball that you just hit goes way to the right, we can rule out that we were aimed that direction. And that might seem like a really simple thing, right? But being able to rule out aim and alignment as the cause of something not going the way that we expected it to is huge, because now we're left with other things that could cause the ball to go to the right. It could be an open club face. It could be our swing path being towards the right. There are so many things that we can get into in this video series, but wanted to establish a baseline of good, sound golf fundamentals. Okay? Now, as you guys are aware, I like to tie this stuff into how does it apply off of the golf course? How could aim and alignment in golf apply to my real life outside of golf? Well, I like to think of aim and alignment as a step. All right? Let's picture that hitting a ball towards our destination, towards our target, is our goal. And I think every time we step up to hit a golf shot, that should be our goal, is we want our shot to end up good. We want to hit a good golf shot. So if that's our end goal, then what we need to do as golfers is take individual steps to ensure that goal happens. Now, I promise you, we're going to have a pretty in-depth video about goals, specifically about goal ladders. And I won't go into it too much today, but suffice it to say that aim and alignment could be that first rung on our golf goal ladder of hitting the ball towards the target. We have to make sure that our body is pointing the way that we want this ball to go in order to accomplish that end goal. Now, how does that translate to real life? Well, if we have a goal, let's say, just like, for example, my goal for this quarantine is to get in better shape. I use physical fitness a lot as an example because, like I said, it's something I'm passionate about. I want all of you guys to aspire to have good physical fitness because I think it benefits your mental and emotional fitness as well. Wellness. But let's use physical fitness as an example, okay? I'm not gonna say that I want to be more physically fit and that's the end of my goal for this quarantine. I'm gonna figure out steps that I can take to make that goal of better physical fitness come true. So instead of saying, I'm just gonna get in better shape, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna try to run 2 miles every other day. I'm going to make better decisions about what I eat in the kitchen. I'm gonna cook healthier foods. And that might mean that when I go to the grocery store, I skip the junk food aisle. Okay? I am going to work out with weights twice a week to help develop those golf muscles, or do body weight type exercises. Those are specific, measurable goals that I can do step by step to achieve that higher goal of better physical fitness, right? And I'm sure that you guys can see how that aspect of a goal ladder can be applied to anything. Could be applied to applying to a college. It could be applied to getting better grades in school. Could be applied to developing more friends, like your social aspect of your life. Now I know that that's a lot to take in, right? But aim and alignment is that first step that we can take towards hitting better golf shots. And that's why we start with it. When we talk about grip and grip pressure and patience with putting and all the stuff that we've talked about already this week, aim and alignment is the next logical step, right? Because before we even hit our shot, we want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a wonderful first week of Tea Times. I'm so excited to keep this going in future weeks. Like I said on Monday, I do have plans to do some live stream type content, but our goal is to, regardless of if it's a live stream or a recorded video, get those to you 4 p.m. Monday through Friday every single week. We want you guys to continue to make progress even when you're stuck at home. So again, thank you, especially to those people that have been watching since the start. I expect a lot more people to be rolling in over the next few weeks. So thank you, and I'm excited to take this journey with you guys. Have a good weekend. I will see you Monday for our next video.